April 15th, 2024. I stood frozen in the Arizona wilderness, my rifle trembling in hands that had forgotten how to be steady. Then I heard it, a sound I'd buried with my grief 1 year ago. A wolf's howl, cutting through the ponderosa pines like a knife through my chest. Luna's voice. 1 year of silence. 1 year of convincing myself they were all dead. 1 year of trying to forget the white pup who'd stopped breathing in my arms. The howl came again, closer this time. My 68-year-old legs moved before my cancer-riddled mind could stop them. Boots crashing through spring grass, lungs burning with each ragged breath. Was Ash out there? The pup born dying, the one with the twisted leg who couldn't possibly survive? Or had the desert claimed him like it claimed everything I'd ever loved? Leave a like and share your thoughts in the comments along with the city you're watching. From now, let's continue with the story. My name is Margaret Thornton, but everyone calls me Maggie. 67 years old, though some days I feel 100. Other days, I don't feel much of anything at all. I live alone in a rental house on the edge of Kaibab Plateau, northern Arizona. The kind of place where silence isn't peaceful. It's suffocating. Henry, my husband, died 10 years ago. Heart attack while fixing the porch steps. Gone before the ambulance made it up our dirt road. The government sends me $1,247 every month. Social Security, they call it. Security? That's a joke. $750 goes to rent. The rest disappears into bills and medication I cut in half to make last longer. $17 left most months if I'm lucky. I had a daughter once. Claire. 40 years old now, living in Boston with a little girl I've never met. Emma, 8 years old. I've seen one photo, Claire's Christmas card from 3 years ago, before she stopped sending them. Before our last fight, when she told me she couldn't breathe around me anymore, she was right. I held too tight. After losing 2 babies before Claire was born, Sophie, who never took a breath, and another who never got a name, I became a mother who gripped instead of guided. Claire needed space. I gave her a cage made of love and fear. 5 years since we last spoke. 5 years of an empty house with 4 chairs around the kitchen table, 3 of them wearing dust like burial shrouds. I wanted to be a veterinarian once. 1975, 18 years old, acceptance letter from UC Davis in my hands. Henry said women didn't need college, that he'd provide. So I gave up my dream and spent 45 years as a housewife, cooking meals and swallowing resentment until I couldn't taste the difference. 8 months ago, Dr. Osei told me I had lung cancer, stage 3. Genetic, she said. I never smoked a day in my life. She gave me 6 months without treatment, maybe 10 with chemotherapy I couldn't afford, $3,000 a month after Medicare. I chose dignity over debt. That was 8 months ago. I'm still here, though I don't know why. My days follow a pattern as predictable as Arizona sunrise. Coffee for 1. Conversations with Henry's photograph on the mantel. Afternoons on the porch watching nothing happen. Evenings with a can of soup I split between dinner and tomorrow's lunch. At night, I lie awake and count the cracks in my bedroom ceiling, 347 of them. Sometimes I think about the bottle of sleeping pills in my bathroom cabinet. I count those too. April 18th, 2023. The day everything changed started like every other, with me wishing it would end. I forced myself on a walk that morning. Doctor's orders, though I couldn't remember why I bothered following them anymore. Half a mile from my rental, I entered Kaibab National Forest, where ponderosa pines stretched toward a sky so blue it hurt to look at. Then I heard it, a whimper, soft and desperate. I followed the sound 200 yards off trail, my hand instinctively reaching for the walking stick I'd started carrying. In a small clearing surrounded by red rock formations, I found her, a wolf, collapsed, pregnant. My first reaction was fear. Wolves are dangerous, especially injured ones. But this wolf wasn't moving. Her silver-gray coat, distinctive and beautiful, was matted with dried blood. Her right hind leg was caught in a steel jaw trap, the kind poachers use illegally. The wound was deep, infected, smelling of gangrene. She'd been here for days. Her ribs showed through her fur like piano keys. Her belly was swollen with pups that might never be born. When she looked at me, I saw something I recognized in those amber eyes. Not aggression, not even fear. Just exhaustion. The bone-deep weariness of someone who'd fought too long and lost too much. I knew that look. I saw it in my mirror every morning. My mind raced through options. I could call Fish and Wildlife. It was my legal obligation. But I knew what they'd do. Injured wolf near human areas? They'd euthanize her. Standard protocol. This wasn't just any wolf either. Her coloring marked her as a Mexican wolf, one of maybe 200 left in the wild. An endangered species, and they'd kill her anyway. Henry's voice echoed in my memory, something he used to say when I'd overthink decisions. Save what you can save, Maggie. That's all anyone can do. I made my choice. It took 3 trips to gather what I needed. Bolt cutters from Henry's rusted toolbox, towels, blankets, my sleeping bag, water. The first aid kit I'd kept stocked since Henry died, as if being prepared could prevent another sudden loss. When I returned, she hadn't moved. I approached slowly, talking softly, the same voice I'd used with Claire when she'd had nightmares as a child. The wolf watched me but didn't growl. Opening the trap made her cry out, a sound that will haunt me until my dying day. I examined the wound as best I could. The bone might be fractured. The infection was severe, spreading. She needed antibiotics immediately, or she and her unborn pups would die within days. She was too heavy to carry, 85 pounds, plus pregnancy weight. But I remembered a small cave formation nearby, sheltered from wind and rain. It took 45 minutes to help her limp those 100 yards, supporting her weight, stopping every few feet when she needed to rest. She collapsed the moment we reached the cave. I ran home again, my lungs screaming, my own body reminding me I was dying too, and grabbed tarps, created a windbreak, laid out the softest bedding I had. Then I did something I'd sworn I'd never do again. I lied to someone I trusted. I called Sarah Mitchell, the veterinarian who'd been Henry's friend, who'd helped me put down our old dog when his kidneys failed. Sarah, I found an injured dog in the woods. Large breed, maybe a German Shepherd mix. Can't bring her to the clinic. What does she need? There was a pause on the line. Sarah wasn't stupid. Maggie, what kind of dog are we talking about? The kind that needs help. Another pause. Describe the injury. I did. Sarah's sigh carried 10 years of friendship and the weight of complicity. Amoxicillin, 500 milligrams, twice daily for at least 14 days. I'll leave it at your house in an unmarked bag. Maggie, be careful. Whatever you're doing, be careful. That night, I slept in the cave beside a dying wolf. She shivered despite the blanket, so I lay close, sharing body heat the way I'd once shared warmth with Henry on cold Montana nights before we moved south. I administered the first injection, intramuscular, the way I'd watched vets do it, and she didn't fight me. I fed her rabbit meat from my freezer, the last of what I'd planned for my own meals that week. She ate weakly, but she ate. I named her Luna. Her silver coat reminded me of moonlight, and Henry used to call me my moon when we were young and still said romantic things to each other. As I sat there in the darkness, listening to her labored breathing, reality crashed over me like a wave. This was illegal, harboring an endangered species without a permit. $50,000 fine, 5 years in federal prison. I was 67 years old with stage 3 cancer and $17 in my checking account. I couldn't afford this financially, physically, or legally, but for the first time in 10 years, someone needed me. Not my money, not my apologies, not my explanations for why I'd failed as a mother. Just me, my presence, my willingness to show up day after day and try. I thought about Sophie, the daughter I'd lost before she could draw breath. I thought about the vet school acceptance letter I'd thrown away to marry Henry. I thought about Claire's face the last time I saw her, twisted with anger and pain as she said, "I can't be around you anymore, Mom. You're suffocating me." All the things I couldn't save, couldn't fix, couldn't undo. But maybe I could save this one dying thing. "Okay, Luna," I whispered into the darkness. "You and me. We're both supposed to be dead soon. So let's make a deal. You fight, and I'll fight. We'll see who gives up first." She made a soft sound, something between a whimper and a sigh. I took it as agreement. That night, I slept better than I had in months, even on the hard cave floor. Because purpose, I was learning, is better than any sleeping pill, better than morphine, better than the quiet resignation I'd been drowning in since Dr. Osei handed me my death sentence. I had 3 months left to live, maybe 4. I was going to spend them saving a wolf. On the 3rd morning, I arrived at the cave to find a freshly killed rabbit outside the entrance. I hadn't brought it. Luna was too weak to hunt. Someone else was watching. The next day, another rabbit, then a squirrel. On the 5th morning, I saw him, a shadow in the trees, 50 feet away. A black wolf, massive, easily 110 pounds. His left eye was missing, the socket scarred over, giving him a perpetually haunted look. He watched me. I watched him. Luna made a soft sound from inside the cave, not alarm, but recognition. I understood then. This was her mate, or at least her pack member. Wolves don't abandon their own, not completely. Even exiled, even alone, they find each other. I named him Phantom because he appeared and vanished like a ghost. Each dawn, he brought food. Each evening after I left, he slept 20 feet from the cave entrance, standing guard. He never came closer than 30 feet while I was there, but his presence was a constant promise. I'm here. I'm watching. I'm protecting what's mine. For the first time, I didn't feel alone in this impossible task. By day 7, Luna was improving. The antibiotics were working, redness fading, the awful smell of infection receding. She stood for 5 seconds before collapsing. By day 10, she walked to the cave entrance on her own. Her appetite increased, a good sign for the pups growing inside her. But on day 7, I also did the math that would haunt me. Luna needed $12 of meat per day. $84 per week, $360 per month. My budget had $17 of flexibility. I started skipping breakfast, coffee only, black, because I'd run out of creamer and couldn't justify buying more. Lunch became crackers with peanut butter, the cheapest protein I could find. Dinner was a can of soup, split between Luna and me. She got the larger portion. She was eating for 5. I cut my blood pressure medication in half. Dangerous, I knew, but what was it going to do? Kill me? I was already dying. I collected aluminum cans from the roadside, 5 cents each. I needed 160 cans to make $8. My back screamed as I bent to pick them up. My lungs burned. But $8 bought another day of meat. On day 10, my bank statement arrived. $284.17 in checking. 0 in savings. Credit card maxed at $2,500. Useless. I walked to my bedroom and opened the drawer where I kept Henry's things. Our wedding rings hung on a silver chain, mine and his, because he'd been wearing his when he died, and the hospital gave it back to me. Gold bands. A small diamond. Nothing extravagant, but we'd been married in 1973, together for 45 years. These rings represented a lifetime. I held them in my palm and cried for an hour. "Henry," I said to his photograph on the nightstand, "I know you'd understand. You always said save what you can save. This wolf needs me. Nobody's needed me since you died. I'm sorry. I love you, but I have to do this." The pawn shop was 30 minutes away, in a part of town I'd never visited. The broker looked at the rings, tested the gold, examined the diamond through his loupe. "I can do 180 for both." "I need 200. He studied my face. An old woman, trembling hands, desperation in every line. 200. Final offer. I left with cash in my pocket and tears on my cheeks. I drove straight to the butcher, bought meat in bulk, filled my freezer. $200 equaled approximately 25 days of food for Luna. 25 days to figure out what came next. But Luna was standing now, walking, growing stronger. On day 12, she walked 20 feet outside the cave, sniffed the air, and howled. Not distress, communication. Phantom answered from somewhere in the forest. The sound they made together was the loneliest, most beautiful thing I'd ever heard. On day 14, I noticed her belly moving. The pups were active, healthy, running out of room. Birth was approaching. Phantom was coming closer now, too, 20 feet instead of 50. On day 13, while I stepped outside to give Luna privacy, I watched through the cave opening as Phantom entered for the first time. He approached Luna carefully, sniffed her, then began grooming her, licking her ears, her face, the wound on her leg that was finally healing. The tenderness between them broke something open in my chest. This was love, the kind that stays when everything else falls apart. The kind that brings food every morning and sleeps on cold ground just to be near. The kind Henry had shown me for 45 years, and I'd been too stubborn or scared or controlled to fully appreciate until he was gone. I saw Henry in Phantom, loyal, protective, steady. I saw myself in Luna, survivor, fighter, refusing to quit even when quitting made more sense. That night I started writing in an old journal Claire had given me for Christmas years ago, still wrapped in its original packaging. I wrote, "Today I realized I'm not saving Luna. She's saving me." My brother Tom, the sheriff, stopped by on day 15. "Maggie, you look terrible. Are you eating?" "I'm fine." "You're not fine. You've lost weight. You're pale. When's your next doctor's appointment? Next month. Maggie. Tom, I'm handling it, please. Just let me handle it. He looked at me with the same expression he'd worn at Henry's funeral, helpless concern knowing he couldn't fix this. If you need anything, I know where you are. After he left, I realized I'd lied to everyone who cared about me. Sarah didn't know Luna was a wolf. Tom didn't know I was harboring endangered species. Dr. Osei didn't know I'd stopped taking my medication properly. I was alone with my secret, my dying wolf, and my own countdown to death. But I'd never felt more alive. May 8th, 2023, Day 20. Luna's labor began at 11:30 at night. I'd brought my sleeping bag, sensing it was time. The way she paced, unable to settle. The way she circled the bedding, scratching at it with her front paws, trying to make it perfect. Phantom was outside, his anxiety a palpable thing. I could hear him whining, pacing, unable to help. The first pup arrived at 12:47 in the morning, a healthy female, dark gray like storm clouds. Luna licked her immediately, instinct taking over, and within 5 minutes the pup was nursing, her tiny cries filling the cave with sound that felt like hope. I named her Storm, born during my own emotional tempest. The second pup came at 1:23. A male, reddish-brown, larger and more vigorous than his sister. He pushed Storm aside to nurse, already showing dominance. I called him Ember, fiery personality from the first breath. The third pup arrived at 2:15, another female, gray with a white chest marking, medium-sized, calm temperament. She waited her turn to nurse with a patience that seemed impossible in something so new to the world. River, I thought. She goes with the flow. Then came 3:01 in the morning, the fourth pup. Everything stopped. The pup emerged pure white, tiny, significantly smaller than his siblings, and he wasn't moving. No crying, no breathing. Just limp, wet fur and a body that looked more like death than life. Luna licked him frantically, her tongue working over his small body, trying to stimulate the breath that wouldn't come. 1 minute passed. 2. The sound Luna made was something I'd never heard from a wolf before, a keening whine that sounded terrifyingly human, like grief, like a mother losing her child. I saw tears in her eyes. I didn't know wolves could cry, but she was crying. I looked closer at the pup and saw the umbilical cord wrapped around his neck. Strangled during birth. His left front leg was deformed, bent at an unnatural angle. Even if he lived, he'd never walk right. This pup was born to die. Luna made that sound again, and something in me broke. I was suddenly back in a hospital room in 1978, holding Sophie's tiny body. A daughter who never breathed, never opened her eyes, never knew her mother loved her. "No," I whispered. "Not again. Not this time." I took the pup from Luna. She resisted, growling low, but something in my face made her release him. I cleared his airway, removed the mucus, felt for a heartbeat. Faint. So faint I might have imagined it. I'd taken a CPR class once, decades ago, when Claire was born. I'd never imagined using it on a wolf pup the size of my hand. Minute 1. 2 finger compressions on his tiny rib cage. 30 compressions. 2 rescue breaths into his small mouth. Nothing. Minute 2. Again. 30 compressions. 2 breaths. My tears falling onto his white fur. "Please. Please. Not this one." Luna was whimpering, watching. Her other 3 pups were nursing, oblivious to their brother's struggle. Phantom howled outside, a sound of mourning, as if he already knew. Minute 3. Still nothing. My hands shaking, my voice breaking. I couldn't save Sophie. I couldn't save my marriage to you, Claire. I couldn't save Henry. Please, God, let me save something. Let me save just this one thing. 3 minutes and 40 seconds. I was about to give up, about to accept that some things can't be saved no matter how hard you fight. One more breath, just one more. The pup's body spasmed. A gasp, tiny, like a whisper, barely audible. Another gasp, then a weak cry, the sound of a kitten more than a wolf. Oh God, thank you. I was sobbing, clutching this impossible creature who'd come back from death. His chest was moving, his mouth was opening. He was alive. I returned him to Luna. She immediately began licking him, crying her own tears of relief. The pup, rooted weakly for milk, found a teat, latched on. Nursed for 30 seconds before falling off, too exhausted to continue. But he was breathing. He was alive. I named him Ash, white as ash, risen from death like a phoenix from ashes. And because he reminded me of Sophie, the daughter I'd lost, the dream that died before it could live. Phantom was allowed into the cave then, for the first time with me present. He sniffed each pup gently, paying special attention to Ash, recognizing his weakness. Then he lay beside Luna, protective and tender. I watched this wolf family and felt something I hadn't felt in 10 years. Not happiness, exactly, but purpose, connection, the sense that I was exactly where I was supposed to be. I slept for 2 hours and woke to all 4 pups nursing. Ash needed help positioning himself, his deformed leg making it difficult to brace, but he was eating. He was fighting, and so was I. The first week was brutal. Storm, Ember, and River thrived. Their eyes opened on day 10. They grew fat and healthy, doubling their birth weight. Ash's eyes didn't open until day 13. By day 25, the size difference was shocking. Storm, 3.2 pounds. Ember, 3.8, River, 3 pounds. Ash, 2.1 pounds, 30% smaller than his smallest sibling. The nursing problems broke my heart daily. His siblings pushed him away. His deformed leg couldn't brace properly. He'd fall backwards, crying softly, too weak to fight for his place. Luna tried to help, but she couldn't nurse them all equally. I started hand-feeding Ash separately. Every 3 hours I'd remove him while his siblings nursed, then bottle-feed him puppy formula Sarah had quietly provided. No questions asked. Each feeding took 45 minutes. Ash sucked weakly, falling asleep mid-meal, needing constant encouragement. His siblings finished the same amount in 5 minutes. I began physical therapy on his leg. Gentle massage 3 times daily, 10 minutes each session. Range of motion exercises, warm compresses. I fashioned a tiny splint from popsicle sticks and veterinary wrap, trying to guide the bone to heal straighter. The progress was agonizingly slow. Day 26. Ash couldn't stand. He dragged himself across the cave floor. Day 28. He stood for 3 seconds before collapsing. Day 30. 8 seconds standing. Day 32. 1 step, then collapse. I talked to him constantly during our sessions. Your leg is weak, like Sophie's would have been. The doctors said she'd never walk properly if she'd lived. But I would have taught her. I would have been there every step, every fall, every triumph. I failed her, Ash. I won't fail you. At night, I slept beside him, monitoring his breathing. Phantom watched this, and incredibly, seemed to accept my involvement. This one-eyed wolf, who should have seen me as a threat, instead saw me as part of the pack. But while Ash struggled to survive, my own life was collapsing. May 15th. My landlord called. "Maggie, rent is 15 days late." "I know, I'm sorry. The money is coming." "You're a good tenant, Maggie. You've never been late in 5 years. But I need payment by May 20th or I have to start eviction proceedings. I'm sorry, but that's the law." I checked my account. $47.13. I needed $702.87 in 5 days. I looked around my house at furniture that might sell for $100 total. I thought about borrowing from Tom, but he had 3 kids in college. I thought about calling Claire, but couldn't bear the humiliation of begging the daughter I'd driven away. Then I remembered. Henry's land. We'd inherited 5 acres outside town in 1995, undeveloped desert scrub. We'd planned to build our retirement home there. Had drawn up house plans together. That's where Sophie's treehouse was supposed to be, the daughter who never lived, but who we'd dreamed about anyway. We'd never built anything. The land sat empty, a monument to dreams deferred and then forgotten. I called a realtor. "I need a fast sale. Cash. How much?" She found a buyer in 2 days. $28,000. Closing in 3. Less than we'd been offered before, but I was desperate. When I signed the papers on May 18th, my hand shook so badly I could barely write my name. This land was Henry's dream. Our dream. Selling it felt like erasing the last piece of the life we'd planned together. But wolves need to eat, and I needed a roof over my head. The check arrived May 19th. Then came the shock. The bank informed me there was a lien on the property. $12,000 from Henry's medical bills in 2018, bills I'd thought were paid. After the lien and closing costs, I received $14,200, half of what I'd expected, I paid rent through June, paid utilities I was 2 months behind on, paid the credit card minimum, bought meat in bulk, enough for 2 months if I was careful, bought medical supplies for Ash, remaining balance, $12,205, maybe 6 months of survival. Then what? I didn't let myself think about then what. On May 20th, I had my follow-up appointment with Dr. Osei. I'd been avoiding it, but she'd called 3 times, her receptionist's voice growing more insistent. The CT scan results were worse than expected. The tumors had grown, spread to lymph nodes. 3 to 4 months without treatment, Dr. Osei said. With chemotherapy, maybe 8 to 10 months, but with terrible quality of life. "How much does chemo cost?" I asked. $8,000 per month. Medicare covers 60%, so $3,200 out of pocket. I did the math instantly. 3,200 times 8 months, $25,600. I had 12,000. "How much time does chemo actually buy me?" Dr. Osei was quiet for a moment. "Realistically, Maggie, 4 to 6 extra months. But those months, you'll be sick, nauseous, weak, mostly bedridden. Quality of life will be very low. And without treatment, 3 to 4 months, you'll feel relatively okay until the last 2 or 3 weeks. Then it will decline rapidly." I thought about Luna, about Ash learning to walk, about having 3 good months versus 8 miserable ones. "I choose no chemo." "Maggie, are you certain? We have payment plans, charity programs. I'm 67 years old, Dr. Osei. I've lived a full life. Well, mostly full. Those wolf pups—" I stopped. realizing what I'd said. She raised an eyebrow. Wolf pups? Dog puppies. German Shepherd mix, remember? A long look passed between us. She knew I was lying. I knew she knew, but she simply nodded. Those puppies are lucky to have you. Make the most of your time with them. I didn't tell Tom. Didn't tell Sarah. Certainly didn't tell Claire, who I hadn't spoken to in 5 years. The only one who knew was Henry's photograph. Henry, I'll see you soon. Save me a spot. I paused, then added, just let me see them grow up first. The pups. Especially Ash. Let me see him walk. That's all I ask. By early June, Ash was walking. Not well. He still limped badly, fell often, tired quickly. But he was walking. His siblings were running, wrestling, playing. Ash limped after them, tried to keep up, usually gave up and lay down, exhausted. Luna would notice and return to him, licking him encouragingly. Ash would try again, fall again. The determination in this tiny white pup was heartbreaking and inspiring in equal measure. On June 3rd, Sarah came to examine all 4 pups. She'd been making excuses to Tom about why she was visiting me so often. Checking on Maggie's health, she'd say. Tom, bless him, pretended to believe her. Sarah's assessment was clinical and devastating. Storm, Ember, and River are ready to survive in the wild in 3 to 4 weeks. They're healthy, strong, showing good hunting instincts already. She picked up Ash, examined his leg, watched him try to walk. Ash is not ready. Maybe never will be. His leg healed wrong. He'll always limp. He can't run fast enough to hunt big prey or escape predators. So what do I do? Sarah's face was full of compassion and hard truth. Realistically, keep Ash, release the others. He won't survive in the wild. Keep him? That's illegal. More illegal than what you're already doing? Sarah shook her head. Maggie, you need to choose. Break more laws or let him die. Those are your options. That's not a choice. That's a nightmare. I spent that night at the cave, watching Ash try to keep up with his siblings. Storm, Ember, and River were playing a game, pouncing on each other, mock fighting, developing skills they'd need for survival. Ash limped toward them, tried to pounce, fell, got up, tried again, fell again. He didn't cry. He just kept trying. Luna was watching too. She looked at me, and I swear there was a question in those amber eyes. What happens to him? Phantom was watching from the cave entrance. His one good eye moved between Ash and me, as if he too was asking, "You see the problem?" The impossible decision crystallized in my mind. Keep Ash safe but caged, dependent on me forever. And what happens when I die in 3 months? Or release him with his family, give him freedom but almost certain death. Safety or freedom. Survival or dignity. Love that holds or love that releases. I picked up Ash, held him in my lap as he slept. I don't know what to do, baby. If I keep you, you're alive, but never truly wild. If I let you go, you're free, but vulnerable. How do I choose? Ash woke up, looked at me with eyes that had finally turned from blue to amber like his mother's. He licked my face, made a small sound of contentment, and somehow I knew. Okay, I whispered. I'll let you go, but I'm teaching you everything I can first. Deal? I had 6 weeks until Daniel Crawford's threat became real, until Tom would be forced to act, until choices would be made for me instead of by me. 6 weeks to prepare Ash for a world that wouldn't wait for him to be ready. 6 weeks to teach him how to survive when survival seemed impossible. 6 weeks to say goodbye to the creature who'd taught me how to live. June 10th arrived with Daniel Crawford. I didn't know much about Daniel except what small-town gossip provided. 48 years old, former Marine, Iraq War veteran. He owned a struggling cattle ranch bordering the national forest. His wife Linda had died of cancer 4 years ago, leaving him to raise their son Carter alone. Carter was 12 now, but 2 years ago he'd been 10 and still had both legs. The story went like this. Family camping trip in the forest. Carter wandered from the campsite, found a wolf den with pups. Being 10 and curious and not understanding danger, he'd poked one of the pups with a stick. The mother wolf attacked to protect her young mauled Carter's leg so badly it couldn't be saved. Daniel shot the mother wolf, killed her. The pack scattered. The pups died without their mother. Carter lost his right leg below the knee. Spent 2 years in physical therapy and psychological counseling, plagued by nightmares, diagnosed with PTSD. Daniel blamed wolves for destroying his son's childhood. He'd been hunting them ever since, using illegal methods, poison bait, steel traps, night hunting. Tom knew, but looked the other way. Daniel was his childhood friend. And how do you arrest a man for seeking revenge against the creatures that crippled his child? On June 10th, Daniel found Luna's cave. He'd been tracking deer, he told me later, when he discovered wolf footprints, fresh scat, and white fur. Ash's puppy coat, shedding as he grew. Daniel set up a trail camera and returned 2 days later. The photos showed everything. Me with the wolves. Luna, Phantom, 4 pups clearly visible. 1 pup, unmistakably white. On June 13th at 6 in the morning, Daniel was waiting on my porch when I returned from the cave. His truck blocked my driveway. He stood holding a rifle, not aimed at me, but the threat was implicit. "I know what you're doing, Maggie." My heart was hammering, but I kept my voice steady. "Taking a walk. Taking a That illegal? You're hiding wolves, Mexican wolves. Endangered Species Act violation. That's federal." "I don't know what you're talking about. I have photos." He pulled out his phone, showed me images of myself with Luna with the pups. "I could turn you in right now. $50,000 fine, 5 years in federal prison. At your age, with your health, you'd die in jail." The accuracy of that statement made my blood run cold. "Then why haven't you turned me in?" "Because I'm giving you a choice. Tell me where they are. I'll handle it quietly. Nobody needs to know you were involved." "Handle it? You mean kill them?" "They're predators, Maggie. Dangerous. My son lost his leg to those animals." Something Sarah had told me weeks ago surfaced in my memory. Town gossip, third-hand information from Carter's therapist. "Your son poked a wolf pup with a stick. The mother defended her baby. What would you have done?" Daniel's face went white. Who told you that?" "Small town. People talk. Carter told his therapist. Word gets around." "He was 10 years old. He made a mistake. Does he deserve to suffer his whole life for it?" "No," I said quietly, "but neither do those wolves. They're not the same pack, Daniel. These wolves never hurt anyone." "I don't care." His voice was hard, final. 7 days, Maggie. Tell me where they are, or I find them myself. And when I do, I'm not asking permission." After he left, I called Tom immediately. My brother arrived 30 minutes later, still in his sheriff's uniform, looking older than his 60 years. We sat at my kitchen table, the same table where we'd sat after Henry's funeral, after my cancer diagnosis. after every crisis in my life. "Tell me it's not true," Tom said. "I can't lie to you." "Jesus, Maggie." He rubbed his face with both hands. "Do you know what you've done? Harboring endangered species without a permit? That's federal. I could lose my job just knowing about this and not reporting it." "Then don't know about it." "Doesn't work that way. Daniel filed a formal complaint. I have to investigate." "You're going to arrest me?" "I'm going to pretend I'm investigating slowly. Buy you some time. But Maggie, you need a plan. Those wolves can't stay. Daniel's serious. He'll find them and kill them. The pups are only 5 weeks old. They need their mother until at least 10 weeks. You have 2 weeks maximum. Then I have to file a report. If I don't, Daniel goes over my head to state or federal authorities. Then it's out of my hands entirely." After Tom left, Sarah arrived. I'd called her too, desperate for options I knew didn't exist. She examined each pup that afternoon, her veterinary expertise giving me information I didn't want to hear. Storm is 8.5 pounds, healthy, already showing hunting instincts. Ember is 10 pounds, dominant, aggressive. He'll be fine. River is 7.8 pounds, calm, well-adjusted, smart. These 3 will survive in the wild within 3 to 4 weeks. Then she picked up Ash. 4.2 pounds, still dramatically smaller than his siblings. She watched him walk, examined his leg, tested his reflexes. Ash is not ready. Maybe never will be. His leg healed incorrectly. He'll always limp. He can't run fast enough to hunt effectively or escape danger. What are my options? Sarah looked at me with devastating compassion. Keep him. Release the others. He won't survive wild. That's illegal. Maggie, everything you're doing is illegal. What's one more law? But I'm dying. I have 3 months, maybe 4. What happens to Ash when I'm gone? Sarah was quiet. We both knew the answer. Tom couldn't take him. Too visible. He's the sheriff. Sarah couldn't risk her veterinary license. Ash would be euthanized. So my choices are, release him to probable death now or keep him for 3 months and guarantee his death when I'm gone? Yes. That night I stayed at the cave, watching Ash try to play with his siblings. Storm, Ember, and River were running, wrestling, their movements fluid and natural. Ash limped after them, fell behind, stopped, lay down exhausted. Luna noticed and returned to him, licking his face encouragingly. Ash tried again, fell again. But he never stopped trying. Phantom was watching too. His one eye moved between Ash and me, and I felt like we were having a conversation without words. You see the problem? What do we do about it? The impossible decision settled in my chest like a stone. Keep Ash safe, but caged, never truly wild, never truly free. Or release him with his family, give him the dignity of trying to survive, even if he fails. I held Ash in my lap that night as he slept. I don't know what to do, I whispered to him. If I keep you, you're alive but dependent. If I let you go, you're free but vulnerable. How do I choose between safety and freedom? Between love that holds and love that releases? Ash woke up, looked at me with his amber eyes, and licked my face. Made a small sound that might have been contentment or might have been understanding. Okay, I said. I'll let you go. But I'm teaching you everything I can first. Every skill, every chance, everything I know. Deal? From that moment, I moved into the cave full time. I brought my sleeping bag, camping supplies, enough provisions to stay for weeks. Tom brought food and fresh water every few days, saying nothing. His silence, a form of love. The crash course began. Week 1, June 14th through 20th, walking practice. I created an obstacle course from logs and rocks. Ash had to climb over, under, and around them. The exercises built muscle, improved balance, taught him to compensate for his weak leg. By day 64, Ash could walk without falling. He still limped badly, but he was functional. Week 2, June 21st through 27th. Hunting basics. I brought live mice I'd caught in traps, released them in an enclosed area, taught Ash to stalk. Low stance, slow approach, patience, then the pounce. On day 66, Ash caught his first mouse, killed it quickly, cleanly, ate it. The pride in his posture was unmistakable. Luna watched and gave approval, a tail wag, a gentle lick. Even Phantom brought Ash a vole, a gift, a teaching moment between father and son. Week 3, day 72, running practice. I used a laser pointer, the kind people use for cats. Ash chased the light, building speed and endurance. His top speed was maybe 15 miles per hour. Normal wolves run 35. But it was enough to escape danger if he was smart about positioning. He could run for 5 minutes before exhaustion hit. Not great, but not hopeless. Through all this training, I had moments that cracked my heart open. On day 67, Ash howled for the first time. Not a puppy whine, but a real howl, high-pitched and earnest. Luna and Phantom responded immediately, and the three of them created a chorus that echoed through the forest. I cried listening to it, the beauty of it, the rightness. On day 70, all 4 pups slept in a pile with Ash in the center. His siblings, who'd pushed him away at feeding time, now protected him in sleep. The pack hadn't abandoned him. They loved him. But Daniel was escalating. On June 20th, he set poisoned meat 200 yards from our cave. Strychnine, illegal and horrific. Tom found it first, thank God, removed it, and warned me immediately. "He's going to kill them, Maggie. You need to move them now." Tom arrested Daniel for illegal poison use. The judge gave him a 30-day suspended sentence and a warning. Daniel walked out of the courthouse and drove straight to the forest. On June 25th, he found the cave. I was there alone when I heard footsteps. Daniel emerged from the trees carrying his rifle. He stopped 50 feet away, the gun not aimed but ready. "I told you 7 days. It's been 12. "They're just babies, Daniel. So was Carter. Look what wolves did to him." "These wolves didn't touch Carter. They weren't even born yet." "Doesn't matter. They're wolves. They'll kill someday. That's what they do." "You're the one killing. 7 wolves in 2 years. Who's the predator here?" Daniel raised the rifle, aimed it toward the cave entrance. "Tell them to come out." I stepped directly in front of the rifle barrel. "You'll have to shoot me first." "Move, Maggie." "No." We stood like that for 30 seconds. His hand was shaking. He didn't want to hurt me. I could see that. But he wanted those wolves dead more than he wanted to be a good man. Tom arrived then. I'd texted him earlier. "If I don't text by 3 p.m., come to the cave." He pulled his service weapon, not aiming at Daniel, but making his presence clear. "Daniel, lower the weapon." "She's breaking the law, Tom. And you're threatening a civilian. Guess which one gets you arrested today." Daniel lowered the rifle. Then, to my shock, he collapsed to his knees and began crying. "My son can't run, Tom. Can't play soccer. Can't swim without his prosthetic hurting. He wakes up screaming 3 nights a week, and she's protecting the things that did it. I knelt beside him, this broken man who'd lost so much. I'm sorry about Carter. Truly. But killing won't heal him. Then what will? His voice was desperate, lost. Time, love, therapy, but not revenge. Revenge just makes you emptier. I don't know how to help him anymore. Tom put his hand on Daniel's shoulder. Go home. Hug your son. That's what you do. Daniel left, but I knew he'd be back. Men like him, men drowning in grief and rage, don't give up. They just reload. That night I made the final decision. July 3rd. We'd release them then. The pups would be 8 weeks old, just barely weaned. Not ideal, but staying was no longer an option. Tom gave me the news on July 1st. Daniel filed a complaint with state wildlife officers. They're coming next week to investigate. If they find the wolves, they'll confiscate them and arrest you. You have to release them before that happens. I looked at Ash, who was sleeping beside me, his white fur glowing in the dim cave light. He was 6.8 pounds now, still small, still limping, but alive, fighting. Okay, I said. July 3rd. We'll take them 15 miles deep into the forest. Far from Daniel, far from people. Give them their best chance. Maggie, Tom said gently, you know what you're doing, right? You're saying goodbye. I know. Once they're released, you can't follow them, can't track them. It has to be complete separation or they won't go fully wild. I know. You might never see them again. My voice broke. I know. That gave me 2 days. 48 hours to prepare Ash for a world that wouldn't wait for him to be ready. 48 hours to memorize every detail. The way Ash's ears perked up when I called his name. The sound of his breathing when he slept. The feeling of his small body curled against mine. 48 hours until I had to choose love that releases over love that holds. 2 days until my heart broke into pieces I'd never be able to put back together. July 2nd. My last full day with them. I spent every moment memorizing details I knew would haunt me. The way Storm's ears perked forward when she was curious. How Ember growled playfully during wrestling matches. The patience in River's eyes as she watched her siblings with something like wisdom. And Ash. God, Ash. The morning was for final training. I'd taught him to respond to a specific sound, a low whistle that meant hide. In the wild, knowing when to hide could save his life. Storm and Ember learned it instantly. River took 3 repetitions. Ash needed 15 tries, but eventually he understood. When I whistled, he limped as fast as he could to the nearest cover and stayed still. Good boy, I told him each time, stroking his white fur. You're so smart. You're going to be fine. I was lying, to him, to myself. The afternoon was for play. I threw sticks and watched them chase, their joy uncomplicated and pure. Ash couldn't keep up with his siblings' speed, but he tried. Always he tried. When he fell behind, panting and exhausted, I sat beside him and let him rest in my lap. You don't have to be the fastest, I whispered to him. You just have to be smart enough to survive. Evening came too quickly. I performed a ritual I'd invented, grooming each pup with a soft brush. One last bonding moment, one last touch. I talked to each of them, words they couldn't understand but might feel. To Storm, you're fast and brave. Lead the hunt someday. Make your mother proud. To Ember, you're strong and fierce. Protect your family. Be the shield they need. To River, you're smart and kind. Be the wise one. the one who thinks before acting. To Ash, I had the most to say. You're a miracle. You died and came back. That means something. I don't know what, but something. The world tried to tell you no, and you said yes anyway. You kept fighting when fighting seemed pointless. That's not weakness, baby. That's the strongest thing I've ever seen. My voice broke. I wish I could keep you safe. I wish I could be there for every fall, every struggle. But that's not love. That's prison. Love means trusting you to find your own way, even when it terrifies me. Ash licked my tears. He always knew when I was crying. I turned to Luna next, this silver wolf who'd changed everything. Thank you for trusting me. Thank you for letting me be part of this. You're a better mother than I ever was. Take care of them. Especially Ash. He needs extra help, but you already know that. Luna's amber eyes held mine with an intensity that felt like communication, like she was making a promise. To Phantom, you're a good father, even though they're not biologically yours. That's what love is, choosing to care. You chose Luna. You chose these pups. That makes you their dad in every way that matters. Protect them, please. Phantom touched his nose to my hand. The first and only time he'd voluntarily made contact. It felt like acceptance, like goodbye. That night, I slept surrounded by all 6 wolves. They curled around me, Luna on one side, Phantom on the other, the 4 pups in between. The warmth of their bodies, the sound of their breathing, the small movements as they dreamed. This is what heaven feels like, I thought. If heaven exists, let it be this. Let it be warmth and family and love that asks for nothing but presence. I prayed for the first time since Henry died. God, if you're listening, I know I haven't been a good believer, but if you could grant me one thing, let this last forever. Or if it can't last, let me remember it perfectly. Don't let time blur the edges. I need to keep this moment sharp. But morning came anyway. July 3rd, 5 in the morning. Tom, Sarah, and I hiked 15 miles into Kaibab National Forest, the wolves following. Luna trusted me completely now. Where I went, she went. Phantom flanked us, alert for danger. The pups bounded ahead, exploring everything, delighted by the adventure. Ash struggled. The terrain was rough, rocks, fallen logs, steep inclines. He fell a dozen times. Each time, he got up and kept going. Luna would wait for him, encouraging him with soft sounds. Storm, Ember, and River learned to slow their pace. They were already protecting him. The pack had decided he was worth keeping. The hike took 3 hours. I had to rest frequently, my cancer-ravaged lungs unable to process enough oxygen. Tom supported me when I stumbled. Sarah carried extra supplies. Neither of them asked if I was okay. They knew I wasn't. We arrived at 8:30 in the morning. A meadow beside a clear creek, surrounded by towering ponderosa pines. Perfect habitat. Water, shelter, prey signs everywhere. Perfect place to say goodbye. I knelt in the grass and called each pup one final time. Storm came immediately, licked my face, and ran to Luna. Ember nudged my hand hard, his version of affection, then bounded to Phantom. River sat beside me for 5 seconds, her eyes seeming to say thank you, before joining her siblings. Ash didn't come. He stayed 10 feet away, watching me, confused, scared. Ash, come here, baby. He backed up instead of approaching. I understood then. He knew. Somehow, he knew this was goodbye, and he was refusing it. I crawled to him, my knees screaming, my dignity abandoned. I picked him up, this pup who'd grown from 2 pounds to nearly 7, and held him against my chest. He licked my face frantically, whimpering, that sound cutting through me like glass. "I know," I sobbed. "I don't want to either. But you're not mine, Ash. You were never mine. You're wild. You belong out here with your mom, your dad, your siblings, not with a dying old woman in a cave." He whimpered again, and I felt his small body trembling. "I love you. God, I love you so much. You saved me. You gave me a reason to wake up, to fight, to live, but now I have to let you live. Do you understand?" He licked my tears, and I felt like he did understand. Like this impossible creature knew exactly what I was saying and was as heartbroken as I was. "Okay." I took a shaking breath. "Go to your mom." I set him down. He didn't move, just stared at me with those amber eyes. Luna barked, a sharp command that meant, "Come here now." Ash looked at me, then at Luna, then back at me. Choosing. "Go," I whispered. "I'll be okay. I promise." It was a lie. I would never be okay again. But he needed to hear it. Ash took one step toward Luna, stopped, looked back at me, his eyes asking a question I couldn't answer. I nodded, tears streaming down my face. "It's okay. Go." He took 5 more steps, stopped again. The pack was 50 feet away now, waiting. Luna barked again, more insistent. Ash looked back one final time. Then he ran, his limping, awkward run toward his family. It took him twice as long as it should have, his weak legs struggling with the distance. When he reached Luna, she licked him thoroughly, welcoming him home. Phantom herded all 4 pups together. They stood as a family unit, 6 wolves against the world. Luna looked at me one last time. Our eyes met across the meadow. 10 seconds of eye contact, an eternity in wolf language. "Thank you," her eyes seemed to say. "No," I thought back. "Thank you for everything." Then she turned and walked into the forest. Phantom followed immediately. Storm, Ember, and River bounded after them, ready for adventure. Ash followed last, limping, falling behind within 20 feet. He stopped, looked back at me one more time. "Keep going," I called to him, my voice breaking. "You can do it. I believe in you." He turned and ran to catch up with his family. I watched until his white fur disappeared into the green forest, until there was nothing left but trees and silence. Then I collapsed. Tom caught me before I hit the ground. I sobbed into his chest, the kind of crying that comes from your bones, that empties you out and leaves you hollow. Sarah knelt beside me, her own tears falling. "You did the right thing," she said. "Then why does it feel like dying?" "Because love always feels like dying when it lets go." We sat in that meadow for an hour. I couldn't move, couldn't speak, could barely breathe. Finally, Tom helped me stand. "We need to go, Maggie. It's a long hike back." I looked at the forest one last time. "Goodbye, Ash. Goodbye, Luna. Be wild. Be free. Be everything I never got to be." The forest didn't answer. It had swallowed my family whole, and all I could do was walk away. July 4th through April 14th, 9 months of darkness. I stopped leaving my house. Tom brought groceries I barely touched. My weight dropped to 112 pounds. I'd started at 140 in April. The cancer was accelerating, eating me from the inside while grief consumed me from the outside. I slept 18 hours a day. The other 6, I spent staring at walls or talking to Henry's photograph. I let them go, I'd tell him. Like you said, save what you can save. But Henry, what if I saved them just to let them die slowly? What if Ash couldn't keep up? What if the pack abandoned him? What if he's out there right now, alone and starving, wondering why I left him? The sleeping pills sat on my nightstand. I counted them every night. 47 pills, more than enough. I wrote a letter to Claire that I never sent. Claire, I'm sorry I was a bad mother. I tried to control you because I was terrified of losing you. I'd already lost Sophie twice. Miscarriages that broke something in me. You were my miracle and I held too tight. I suffocated you. I understand why you left. I'm sorry. Tell Emma her grandma loved her even though we never met. Tell her I saved some wolves once. Maybe that counts for something. Love, Mom. Tom found the letter on August 15th. I'd left it on the kitchen table, not quite ready to mail it, but not quite able to throw it away. He read it, then called Claire immediately. 3 days later, Claire was at my door, with Emma. I was in my bathrobe at 2 in the afternoon, looking like death, smelling worse. Claire took one look at me and started crying. Mom. Oh, Mom. You didn't need to come. I'm fine. You're dying. Tom told me. Why didn't you tell me yourself? We haven't spoken in 5 years. I didn't think you'd care. I always cared. I was hurt. That's different than not caring. Emma stood behind her mother, this 8-year-old girl I'd never met but who had my eyes. Claire's hair, Henry's smile. She looked at me with curiosity instead of fear. Hi, Grandma. I'm Emma. Mommy says you saved wolves. Can you tell me about them? And something broke open in me. Not in a bad way, in the way a dam breaks and finally lets the water flow. I told Emma everything, finding Luna, saving Ash, the birth, the CPR, the training, the release. I talked for 2 hours while Emma sat cross-legged at my feet, completely absorbed. Were you scared? She asked. Terrified, every single day. But you did it anyway? Because they needed me. You're brave, Grandma. No, sweetheart. I'm just stubborn. That night, Claire and I talked, really talked, for the first time in years. Why didn't you tell me you were sick? We haven't spoken in 5 years. I didn't think you'd care. I never stopped caring, Mom. I was angry, hurt, but I loved you through all of it. I ruined your life, controlled everything. You didn't ruin my life. You shaped it, sometimes in wrong ways, yes, but also in right ways. I'm a lawyer because you pushed me to study. I'm a good mom because I learned what not to do and what to do. You weren't perfect, but you loved me. I know that now. I loved you so much it scared me. After losing Sophie and the other baby, I couldn't lose you. So I held on too tight. I know. And I forgive you. But Mom, you need to forgive yourself. I don't know how. Start by living. You've got months left. Don't waste them wishing you were dead. Claire stayed 3 weeks. She moved me into a cleaner rental house, cooked actual meals, made me eat. I gained 4 pounds. Emma read to me every night, children's books about animals. I taught her to identify birds from my porch. We watched hummingbirds and talked about nature. But I never mentioned the wolves again. It hurt too much. Claire returned to Boston in September. She had a job, a life, responsibilities, but she called every single day. For the first time in 5 years, I had my daughter back. But I'd lost my wolves. October through January became a blur of waiting. Waiting to die. Waiting for news that never came. Tom checked his trail cameras weekly. No wolf sightings in our area. "That's good," he'd tell me. "Means they migrated north. Safer territory." I knew he was lying to make me feel better. The truth was simpler and crueler. They were dead. Luna had died of old age or illness. Phantom had been shot by ranchers. Storm, Ember, and River had scattered. And Ash couldn't keep up, couldn't hunt, couldn't survive. The pack had left him behind, or a predator had found him, or he'd simply starved. He died alone in the woods because I wasn't there to protect him. That guilt sat on my chest like a stone, making it even harder to breathe. By February, I deteriorated sharply. The tumor was visible now, swelling in my chest. I couldn't walk anymore, wheelchair-bound. Hospice nurse came 3 times weekly. Dr. Osai's prognosis: weeks, Maggie, not months. I made funeral arrangements. Cremation, cheapest option. Ashes scattered at the release site where I'd said goodbye. Headstone next to Henry. Margaret Thornton, beloved wife, mother, wolf whisperer. Claire flew back immediately. "I'm staying until the end." Emma came too, missing school because what did school matter when your grandmother was dying? Sarah visited daily. "Maggie, you gave them a chance. That's all anyone can do." But did they make it? I don't know. Dying not knowing is the worst part. March was mostly morphine-induced fog. I was bedridden, in constant pain, hallucinating sometimes. I'd see Henry sitting in the chair beside my bed. I'd see Sophie as a grown woman, beautiful, telling me she forgave me for not being able to carry her to term. I'd see Ash as a white ghost, limping through my bedroom, those amber eyes watching me. "I'm sorry," I'd tell the hallucination. "I'm so sorry I couldn't save you." In my coherent moments, I'd ask Tom to check the trail cameras. He did. Saw nothing, no wolves, no sign they'd ever existed. "They're gone," I told Claire in early April. "I'll never know what happened to them." "Maybe that's better," she said gently. "Maybe not knowing means you can hope." I'm tired of hoping. I'm ready to stop. On April 14th, I made a request that shocked everyone. "Take me to the forest, one last time." "Mom, you can't walk." "Wheelchair, please. I want to die where I felt alive." Claire couldn't refuse a dying woman's final wish. Tom drove us, Sarah came along, Emma held my hand. We went to the release site, arriving at 2 in the afternoon. The weather was perfect. 70 degrees, clear sky, that particular quality of spring light that makes everything look new. They set my wheelchair at the edge of the meadow where I'd said goodbye nearly a year ago. "This is where I released them," I told Emma. "This is where I watched Ash disappear into the trees. Do you think they remember you?" "No, sweetheart. Wolves don't remember humans. It's been too long." I sat quietly, eyes closed, sun warm on my face. This was peaceful. This was right. I was ready to die here, in this place where I'd love something fully and let it go, ready to finally rest. Then at 2:47 I heard it. A howl, distant, from the east. My eyes snapped open. "Did you hear that?" Claire looked confused. "Hear what?" Tom cocked his head. "I heard it. Wolf howl." My heart stopped. "That's Luna's voice." "Maggie, there are lots of wolves. Could be any." "I know her voice. That's Luna." The howl came again, closer this time, unmistakable. I started crying. "Oh my God. Oh my God, she's alive." "Maggie, even if it's her, that doesn't mean—" "Stay. Everyone stay, please." At 2:51, movement in the trees 100 yards away. A wolf emerged onto the ridge. Silver-gray coat. Distinctive coloring. Luna. "Luna," I sobbed. "Luna, it's you." She stood on the ridge looking directly at me, recognizing me. She howled again, not aggressive, not threatening, calling. More movement in the trees. Phantom emerged, still one-eyed, still loyal. Then 3 larger wolves, Storm, Ember, River, all grown, all magnificent. And a white wolf. Ash. My breath stopped. Time stopped. Everything stopped. "Ash," I whispered. He was no longer small, at least 55 pounds, adult-sized. His coat was brilliant white, healthy, glowing in the afternoon sun. And he was walking toward me. Not limping, walking normally, confidently, strong. "He's not limping," I said, unable to believe it. "Claire, he's not limping. How is he not limping?" Sarah moved closer, watching. "Wolves have remarkable healing capacity. His bones must have fused correctly as he grew. It's rare, but it happens." The legs strengthened over time. "He made it," Claire sobbed beside me. "Mom, Ash made it." Emma was crying too. "He's so beautiful, Grandma." Ash approached slowly, cautious, wild. He stopped 20 feet away, looking at me, those amber eyes searching my face. "Ash, it's me. It's Maggie. Do you remember?" He tilted his head, processing. 10 seconds of stillness. Then his tail wagged, small, cautious, but unmistakable. He remembered. He walked closer. 10 feet. 5 feet. Stopped at my wheelchair, leaned forward and sniffed my hand. Recognition flooded his posture, ears forward, tail wagging faster. He licked my hand. Once, gently, then my face. I wrapped my arms around his neck, sobbing into his fur. "I'm so proud of you. So proud. You did it, baby. You survived. You're strong and healthy and perfect." Ash stayed still for 30 seconds, allowing the embrace. A wild wolf allowing a human to hold him. Something that shouldn't happen but did, because Ash remembered love. Then he pulled back, looked at me one last time. His eyes seemed to say, "I'm okay. Thank you. Goodbye." He returned to the pack. Behind Luna, I saw 6 more wolves, juveniles, this spring's pups, and 2 more adults, 12 wolves total. The pack was thriving. Luna approached then, walking carefully with dignity. She stopped 10 feet away. We made eye contact for 15 seconds, an eternity in wolf time. "You kept him safe," I told her. "Thank you. Thank you for not giving up on him." Luna made a soft sound, a wolf purr, affection. Then she collapsed. "Luna! Luna!" Sarah ran forward, examined her quickly. Maggie. Her pulse is weak, breathing labored. She's dying. I looked at Luna properly then. She was emaciated under her fur, ribs visible, hip bones protruding, clearly sick for months. She's old, Sarah said quietly. Wolves rarely live past 8 years in the wild. She's probably 9 or 10, and she's been sick. Cancer maybe, or organ failure? No, not her too. Maggie, she came here to show you Ash survived, to say goodbye. I crawled from my wheelchair onto the ground, my useless legs dragging. I lay beside Luna, her head in my lap. Phantom lay on her other side. Ash lay at her feet. The pack formed a circle around us. You were the bravest wolf I ever met, I told her through tears. You fought so hard. For your babies, for yourself. You taught me how to fight, how to love, how to let go. Thank you for everything. Luna licked my hand weakly, looked at Ash with a mother's love. At 3:14 p.m., she took her last breath. She died peacefully, surrounded by pack, with the human who'd saved her holding her close. Phantom howled, grief pure and devastating. Ash howled, a son mourning his mother. The entire pack howled, and I howled with them. The pack stayed for 20 minutes after Luna died. Then Phantom stood, gently nudged her body one last time, and began walking into the forest. The others followed, Storm, Ember, River, the juveniles, the new adults. Ash was the last to leave. He looked at me for a long moment, and I felt like we were having an entire conversation without words. Go, I told him. Live. That's what she wanted. That's what I want. He dipped his head. A wolf bow, a gesture of respect I'd never seen him make before. Then he turned and ran, no limp, full speed, disappearing into the trees with his family. Gone. Tom helped me back into the wheelchair. I couldn't stop crying. But these weren't tears of grief anymore. They were something else. Something like peace. Luna waited, Tom said quietly. She was dying for months, but she waited until spring, until Ash was grown, until she could show you he survived. She died the way she lived, making sure her babies were okay. She came back for me. She came back to give me peace. Sarah knelt beside me. You both saved each other, Maggie. I looked at Claire, at Emma, at Tom and Sarah, my family, the one I'd almost given up on. I'm ready now. I can go now. Mom, don't say that. No, honey, I mean it. I was dying not knowing. Now I know. Ash is alive, strong, free. That's all I needed. I can let go. But I didn't die. Not that day. Not that week. Tom and Sarah retrieved Luna's body, buried her at the release site. I insisted on a simple marker. Tom carved it from wood. Luna, mother, fighter, friend. You taught us to be wild. The pack returned during the burial. They stayed at the tree line, respectful distance. Ash was visible among them, his white coat unmistakable. I spoke to them one last time. Luna gave me a gift. She showed me that love isn't holding on. It's knowing when to let go. I let you go, Ash, and you thrived. That's the greatest gift you gave me back. Freedom for both of us. The pack howled. Then they left. "That's the last time I'll see them," I said, "and that's okay." But something strange happened after that day. My cancer stopped progressing. Dr. Osei was baffled. "Maggie, your scans show the tumor hasn't grown in 3 weeks. Medically, you should be declining, but you're stable." I had something to live for, I told her. Now I have something else, telling this story. I started writing. 1 page per day in an old journal, recording everything. Finding Luna, saving Ash, the birth, the release, Luna's return. Claire typed it up. Emma drew illustrations, wolves, forest scenes, moments she'd only heard about but captured perfectly. I titled it, "The Wolf Who Saved Me." My appetite returned. I gained 6 pounds. I could walk short distances with a walker. The pain was still there, constant and grinding, but manageable. The hospice nurse, Karen, said something that stuck with me. "I've seen this before. Purpose extends life. You have something to finish. Your body knows." Claire and Emma stayed through the summer. Emma enrolled in the local school for fall. Claire worked remotely. 3 generations under one roof for the first time in my life. We developed routines. Mornings I told wolf stories while Emma took notes. Afternoons we sat on the porch watching birds. I taught Emma to identify species the way I'd once planned to do with Claire before I became too controlling to let her just learn naturally. Evenings, family dinners, where I ate small portions but was present. Nights, Emma read to me. A reversal that felt healing. The child caring for the elder. Claire and I had conversations I'd needed for years. "Mom, I understand now why you held so tight. You were protecting me from loss because you knew how much loss hurt. I was wrong. I can't protect anyone from loss. It's part of life. All I did was lose 5 years with you. We're making up for it now. I wasted so much time being stubborn, proud. I wasted time being angry. We're both stubborn. I got that from you." "Claire?" "Yes, Mom? I'm sorry for everything. I know. I forgive you. Do you forgive yourself?" I thought about that. "I'm trying." Emma asked questions that cut straight to truth, the way children do. "Grandma, when you die, will you become a wolf?" "I don't think it works that way, sweetheart. But you loved them so much. Maybe God makes you what you loved." That's a beautiful thought. I'm going to be a veterinarian, like you wanted to be. Emma, be whatever makes you happy. Don't live my dreams. Live yours. But I want to help animals because of your story. That's my dream now. I cried. Then I'm so proud of you. In August, Daniel Crawford appeared at my door. I was on the porch, expecting conflict, but he looked different. Smaller, somehow. Defeated. "Mrs. Thornton, I came to apologize." Behind him stood Carter, now 12, walking better with his prosthetic. "For what?" I asked. "For being blind. Angry. Wrong." Carter stepped forward. "Mrs. Thornton, my dad told me what you did. How you saved the wolves even when people wanted to kill them. You're brave." "No, sweetheart, I was scared every day. But you did it anyway. That's what brave means." Daniel's voice shook. "After Luna died, I did research. Mexican wolves almost went extinct because of people like me. We killed them out of fear. But we're not the victims, they are. I saw you at the burial. You weren't afraid of them. They weren't aggressive toward you. They were just living. I was angry at the wrong thing." What changed your mind? Seeing Luna die peacefully? Seeing that white wolf mourn? They're not so different from us. They love. They grieve. They're family. Carter added, Dad's teaching me about wolves now. And I want to say I'm sorry for what I did. Poking that pup with a stick. I was wrong. You were 10. Children make mistakes. What matters is you learned, Daniel continued. I started a fund. Carter's Second Chance Wildlife Fund. We raise money for wolf conservation, teaching kids about coexisting with predators instead of fearing them. Daniel, that's wonderful. It was Luna's death that did it. Something about watching her choose to come back to you, to show you her son survived before she died. That's love. That's sacrifice. How could I hate something capable of that? Can you forgive me for almost killing them? I already have. They left, and I felt another piece of the puzzle click into place. Healing spreading outward in ripples I couldn't have predicted. October arrived. I finished my memoir, 98 pages, handwritten, every word a piece of my heart. Claire found a small local press willing to publish it. The book launch was a small event at the library. 50 people attended, more than I expected. I spoke from my wheelchair, weak but clear. I thought Luna needed me. Turns out I needed her more. She taught me that love means freedom, that mothers sacrifice everything, that miracles happen when you refuse to give up. Ash should have died. I should have died. Luna should have died. But we all fought. And fighting is what makes life worth living. Standing ovation, people crying, strangers telling me my story changed them. Claire noticed him first, outside the library window. A white wolf, watching through the glass. Ash. He'd come. Traveled miles to be here. He remembered. I wheeled to the window. Our eyes met. He dipped his head in that same gesture of respect. Then he turned and disappeared into the twilight. He came, I whispered. He remembered. November 28th, Thanksgiving Day. My last day, though I didn't know it would be. Claire, Emma, Tom, and Sarah gathered around my table. We ate pumpkin pie. We laughed. We told stories. This is perfect, I said. This is how I want to remember life. Family. Full table. Love. That night, I went to sleep surrounded by people who loved me. I didn't wake up. November 29th, 2 a.m. I passed peacefully in my sleep. Age 68 years, 7 months. But I didn't die empty. I died full of love, of purpose, of knowing I'd made a difference. My ashes were scattered at the release site. Tom said the pack came during the ceremony, stood at the tree line, howled once, then left. Ash was among them. Claire and Emma stayed in Arizona. Emma's studying to be a wildlife veterinarian. She's 15 now, brilliant, passionate about conservation. My book sold 10,000 copies. It inspired a movement. Grandmothers organizing for wolf protection. Daniel's fund raised $50,000 the first year. The Mexican wolf population in Arizona is now 312, up from 200 when I found Luna. Maggie's wolves, that's what they call Ash's pack. They represent 6% of the entire population. My brother Tom retired, became a wildlife volunteer. Sarah continued her veterinary practice, specializing in wolves. On my headstone, Claire inscribed, Margaret Maggie Thornton. She learned to let go. But the real legacy isn't the words on stone. It's the white wolf who still visits the release site every spring. who brings his pups to the meadow where his mother died and his grandmother loved him. Ash lived, thrived, became a father himself, passing down that white coat to a new generation. I didn't save the wolves, they saved me. And in the end, maybe that's what love always does. It saves both the giver and the receiver, teaching us that the bravest thing isn't holding on. It's learning when to let go. Sometimes we think our best years are behind us, that once we've lost the people we loved, the dreams we abandoned, the strength we once had, there's nothing left but waiting. But Maggie's story reminds us that purpose doesn't retire, that the capacity to make a difference, to touch another life, to choose hope over resignation, that never expires. She was 67, dying of cancer, living on $1,200 a month, estranged from her daughter. She had every reason to give up. Instead, she found a dying wolf and decided both of them deserved to fight. What she discovered changed everything. Love isn't about holding on until our knuckles turn white. It's about knowing when to open our hands and trust. It's about believing that what we've loved carries a piece of us forward, even after we're gone. Maggie never became the veterinarian she dreamed of being at 18, but she saved an endangered species anyway. It's never too late to matter. It's never too late to be brave. The question isn't whether we have time left, it's what we'll do with the time we have. Have you ever had to let go of something you loved because keeping it meant destroying it? What gave you the courage to finally open your hands? Share your story in the comments below. Your words might be exactly what someone else needs to hear today.